That's a wise man. You don't mess with your wife's hat on Inauguration Day. He knows who's in charge in that moment. That is a
the hat and the hair.
I'm not messing with your hat. I understand that I will pay for this later. I'm going to give you the air kiss. If my wife was wearing that hat, I wouldn't touch that hat on Inauguration Day either. I do want to.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Now, I had to throw that clip right there in the beginning. I just love that face. He's just so annoyed by this, and it is kind of, rather ridiculous if you ask me. But what's up, y'all? We got another Piers Morgan debate. No, it is not Saturday. Your calendar is not lying to you. Yeah, I'm off of work, right? We couldn't go to work. They shut down all the roads. Couldn't go over the bridge. Yeah, I got to travel over a bridge to get to work every day. And we were off yesterday and today due to all the ice and snow and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, we're not used to it down here in Southwest Louisiana. But, it is what it is. So I'm off of work, so I'm doing something I love instead of just covering all the news, right? Now, I made 3 videos yesterday, so hopefully y'all got enough news. But let's get into this debate right quick because this is an absolute circus for the most part, but there's a little bit of room here for debate, a little bit of room here for arguments, so we're going to make the arguments, we're going to knock down the debates, we're going to see just how ridiculous some of this stuff is because, that's what I love to do, and I'm almost running out of breath. But enough of that. Y'all go ahead and smash that like button for me. Subscribe to this channel if you're new around here. I would greatly appreciate that. And share this video anywhere and everywhere you can. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this thing. Check this out, y'all.
I do want to play you a clip from December 2020 when Joe Biden was asked by Jake Tapper at CNN about rumors that Donald Trump might issue some preemptive pardons before he left office.
President Trump is reportedly considering a wave of preemptive pardons. Does this concern you? All these preemptive pardons?
Well, it concerns me in terms of what kind of precedent it sets and how the rest of the world looks at us as a nation of laws and justice. You're not going to see in our administration that kind of approach to pardons. Nor are you going to see in our administration the approach to making policy by tweets. It's just going to be a totally different way in which we approach the justice system.
Harry, here's your chance to redeem yourself by just conceding that when Joe Biden said that, he was telling an absolute blatant lie, because he's now done preemptive pardons for just about anybody he can think of. Do you accept that your main weapon against Trump has always been his alleged lack of veracity, as you put it? Do you accept now that that's gone? Because actually, Biden himself just told endless porkies about stuff like preemptive pardons.
It's interesting, Piers, that you're arguing for the view that somebody's opinion on something can't change if circumstances change. So when President Biden made that claim, there was no threat toward Donald Trump or his family. And look at these guys, these losers laughing over here. But with Donald Trump appointing Kash Patel to the FBI, who said he wants to go, excuse me, be quiet. Wanting to appoint Kash Patel to the FBI, who said he wants to go after his political opponents. Donald Trump, who said he wants to appoint a special counsel to go after Biden's family. Kash Patel has a list of people that he wants to go after and prosecute. So you're asking me, wait, why did Biden do this? Why did he pardon his family? Maybe because the Trump DOJ and Trump's administration is promising to come after them. I'm perfectly fine with Joe Biden doing that, given the unjust attacks that they've suffered for the past 4 years as the Biden family. And I also just want to finish with one thing. I don't know why losers like Dave Rubin are up here, because 4 years ago he said if Biden serves a full term, he'll retire. So I wonder why Dave Rubin hasn't retired yet, when he said 4 years ago he'd do so if Biden served a full term. So go along, David, and
hush,
get out of here.
Hush, Hobbit, for just a moment.
Yeah. Look at Dave Rubin doubling down on being wrong and lying. I thought you were retiring, Dave. What happened?
I said that in 2019 to illustrate the point back in 2019 that everyone knew, but mainstream media was hiding, which was that he was mentally compromised 5 years ago.
So you lied.
He has not.
Thank you for admitting that you lied about retiring. I'm glad.
If you think he's really been president or making the decisions, Harry, you've been wrong about everything. It's not even worth addressing you, but let me, if I can make a point about the oligarch.
Talking to liars like you who say you're going to retire and then you don't.
All right.
Okay, so that little rant kind of raises the question, how much of a shill / grifter do you have to be to actually advocate and try to justify preemptively pardoning somebody whilst at the same time trying to convince everybody else that the Biden family themselves, that they're totally innocent. They haven't done anything wrong. There's nothing to see here, everybody. All that mountain of evidence that was gathered by the House Oversight Committee and the Ways and Means Committee and the Judiciary Committee and all those checks and everything that you've seen, that's nothing, folks. That's just coincidence over here. Just loan repayment after loan repayment after loan repayment without no outgoing loan payment in the first place, right? How badly do you have to dive off into the darkness over here to actually be able to justify preemptively pardoning people who are clearly guilty of something? There's not been a sufficient investigation on this, right? And, you know, that whole thing with Trump talking about preemptively pardoning, that's probably just nonsense. That's probably another corporate press media manipulation that they just said, oh, they got some anonymous source over here to say, oh, Donald Trump's thinking about preemptively pardoning somebody, just so that Joe Biden could come on television and just shake his finger at Donald Trump. How bad of a precedent would that set? The idea of this is just so ridiculous and so far-fetched that it makes absolutely no sense. Trump did have a good reason to at least pardon himself. Right? But see, Trump is the type of person, he believes in law and order. This is why he didn't just give the middle finger to the falsifying business records case, to all those bogus cases. That's why he went to trial. He sat in court every day. He didn't just say, screw you, this is ridiculous, and just say, go prosecute somebody else, right? He believes in the justice system. He went through with all this. Of course, he's fighting it tooth and nail, and I would if I was him as well, because, you know, they obviously violated his due process rights on several different occasions. That was obviously a sham of a trial. They bring it up nonsense charges over here, right? And if they wanted to go after him legitimately, they should have brought those cases when they had the chance. When they absolutely had the chance, right after he got out of office. They should have brought those cases, because I do believe that you have a 5-year statute of limitations on that misdemeanor. And after that 4 years, they could have brought that up as soon as he came out. But no, they didn't do that, did they? They waited until he decided to run for president again. But getting back to the topic at hand, right? Joe Biden actually pardoned his family preemptively, while also in the memo that he wrote in response to his pardon saying that this is not an admission of guilt. Like, if you have to get out there and tell everybody, get out in front of this and say, we're not admitting any guilt, we're just making sure that the Justice Department in this great country doesn't get weaponized against our family. Now, what kind of message does that speak to everybody? Right? That tells me that Joe Biden knows for a fact that they are either A, guilty, or B, that it absolutely, the Justice Department has been weaponized against somebody, and he's worried about retaliatory weaponization of the Justice Department. That's what that speaks to me. They're either guilty, which, in my opinion, it looks, but like some of the pardons makes absolutely no sense to some of his family members, right? Like, what was it? He pardoned Ashley Biden Owens. Like, huh? Like, do you really think Trump is going to go after her? And for what reason? There's no good reason. Like, some of those pardons make absolutely no sense. He pardoned General Milley, for crying out loud. I know that's not part of Biden's family, but a preemptive pardon for General Milley, the January 6th committee. Now, I'm waiting to see how these pardons are accepted, because we know for a fact, back when it was first discussed, like a month or so ago, Benny Thompson on national television absolutely accepted the preemptive pardon. So right there, that to me is an admission of guilt. He knows that there was some wrongdoing in the conducting. Sorry, it took me a second to get that out. Conducting the January 6th committee. They know that they got rid of evidence. They know that that was a sham committee. It was not a bipartisan committee. It was an illegitimate committee. They didn't have bipartisanship. It was all one-sided. All right? So, to me, this just shows that, you know, that Harry Sisson has no scruples whatsoever. He has no integrity whatsoever to look at an action from a president that is unprecedented and very, very, very corrupt and try to justify that. Yeah, dude, come on. Get out of here. Your credibility is absolutely gone at this point. Let's keep going.
Did you say what?
Hang on.
Did you vote
Cornell,
for
hang
Joe
on.
Biden?
Hang on, guys. I'm going to Harry. Harry, there's going to be an executive order.
I voted for myself.
Cornell, time out. I'm going to Harry for a question.
Okay.
Here's my question for Harry. There's going to be up to 200 executive orders unleashed, right? Many have already been signaled. Many have already been announced. Some were in the speech, some afterwards. We know what a lot of these things are going to be, Harry. I'm just curious, genuinely curious, which ones you have a big problem with, right? For example, would you contest the fact there is a crisis on the southern border?
No, I definitely think that there's a problem at the border, but it's just interesting that Donald Trump is declaring a national emergency on this, given the fact that the numbers right now at the border are similar or even lower than they were under Donald Trump's
administration. Well, the reason he's done that is because nearly 10 million... Well, hang on, Harry, the reason is that nearly 10 million illegal immigrants got into America on the southern border in the last 4 years. That's an emergency.
Actually, that's not true. The majority of people who have come in recent years have come in through asylum, meaning that they are legal. This guy, you can keep saying yes, it is all you want. You just don't know what you're talking about. The majority of people who have come in through asylum, meaning that they're legal immigrants.
So how many illegal immigrants came in?
System?
In your special numbers that you find in some special place? Can you just out of your quiet? Ass, where? How many?
Just
came
stop
in?
Talking. Just stop. Nobody needs to hear you speak.
No, I want to know
right
how
now.
many you think
the overwhelming
came
majority
in
of people come in through asylum. Now, Joe Biden tried to rewrite the asylum laws to make it harder for people to claim asylum improperly, and Republicans like Donald Trump blocked the bill. So it's fascinating to me that this is Donald Trump's day one executive order, and it's also for this Ferguson guy over here. You're saying, can you be quiet for 5 seconds?
Can you just agree with me, Harry? Harry, to be fair,
hold on,
Harry. To remind you, the first thing you did was agree with me. There's a crisis on the southern border. So why wouldn't you agree that there should be an emergency order?
Well, I'm just curious as to where the emergency is. I think there's a crisis of the law. The law is lacking. I would like to see Donald Trump actually try to rewrite the asylum laws.
So you think there's a crisis, but you shouldn't do anything about it. All right. Do you think the cartel gangs should be designated terrorist groups? Yes or no?
Sure, no problem.
No problem with that. Great. Okay.
Wait, can I take?
No, hang on. Do you think do you think there should be more than 2 genders in America?
Yeah, I don't know what that executive order means. I don't know what the president declared.
It means there are 2 genders, male and female. Do you disagree with that?
How many genders are there, Harry?
Yeah,
come on, little guy. How many genders are there?
Again, these guys don't know what they're talking about, so they won't be able to answer.
How many genders are there?
How many genders are there, Harry?
How many genders are there?
What's the legal? I'm gonna use Joe Biden's answers. At least 2. At least 2. That satisfies.
Well, how many more other than male, female?
That's a TikTok answer.
There's at least 2. Yeah. There's at least 2.
Well, no, hang on. There's male and female.
Is like human brain
Donald
rot.
Trump says there's male and female. There are 2.
Okay, Dave.
How many more are there after male and female, Harry?
There's at least 2. Now, anyway, let me get back to
how many
more are there?
What are the other ones?
There's at least 2.
What are the other ones?
Harry, let's try it this way. You're a female. What is the other gender?
It's so funny. It's so funny how these conservatives just get time to lie on this show, but when I'm speaking, they all interrupt and there's no problem.
You've just been asked a very simple question, Harry.
Conversation with Piers, not you, Mr. Como. Relax for me. Take a breather.
You simply got asked if there are at least 2 genders, how many more are there than male and female?
Piers, you asked me about Donald Trump's executive order. I'm trying to explain how legally it makes absolutely no sense and it's going to get sued in court. Then we go into culture wars with Dave Rubin and this Ferguson guy asking how many genders are there. I'm trying to answer your question. They're screaming their faces off about issues that don't fucking matter.
I'm asking you.
Oh God, this child.
I'm asking you, Harry. How many genders are there?
I'm answering your question.
Harry,
Piers, I've answered your question.
Harry, how many genders are there?
2. There are at least 2.
2 or at least 2?
Are there 100?
Hang on, Ben. Hang on, Ben. I've got
more
this.
More or less than 100.
Can I answer the question?
Yes, Cornell. Answer the question.
Can I answer the question for Brother Harry? Because Brother Harry trying to hold on.
Help him out, Cornell.
That according to Shakespeare, all of us are androgynous. There are men and there are women. There are different sides of human beings, all made in the image of a God that has a dignity and a sanctity. And if you're going to try to start demonizing precious trans folk, then I'm going to be fighting. But it's not. But
okay, Cornell, I agree with them. I agree with them. I agree. Don't demonize trans folks. This is all the left has left.
Can we all agree on the absolute intellectual mastery of Cornel West right here? Just outright. I mean, just seriously. Like, this guy just has the English language down pat. Can we also agree, in all seriousness, that Ben Ferguson is just an annoying asshole? Just sorry for the language. He absolutely is. I can't stand that guy for some reason. He just ticks me off to no end because he's just constantly interrupting everybody, it seems like. But getting to the point, getting to refute a little bit of what Harry Sisson was here, he openly admits that there's a crisis on the southern border. So that's something that right there says something needs to be done. Then he backtracks and says, well, the numbers are down to below when Donald Trump was in office. Does that matter? We still have issues on that southern border, right? It still needs to be secured, because if there's any illegal immigration coming across that southern border, something needs to be done about it. It needs to be fixed. We need, ideally to get illegal immigration to zero, to down to nothing, to where we have zero illegal immigrants coming across that southern border. That's ideal. That's unrealistic, but it's ideal. Now, the executive actions are meant to lay the groundwork for Congress to come in and legislate the wall. Let's reform the asylum process just totally. Let's reform this. Let's reform the immigration process. Let's expand it a little bit. Why not? Because we need to expand the legal immigration, because it is a tough job to come into this country legally. It's hard. This is why so many people attempt to break our laws and are successful in breaking our laws to get here. This all needs to be done. We have a short window to do it in. We need to pass this legislation. It needs to be solid. It needs to be bipartisan, of course, for it to get through the Senate naturally. But all this stuff needs to be done. But he's still trying to defend the Biden administration. I don't understand this guy. The Biden administration was massively damaging to this country. And in this stuff, there has to be a lot of work done to overturn a lot of what the Biden administration has done. A lot of the damage that is going to leave long-lasting repercussions for this country that need to be fixed as quickly as possible. And, these people trying to advocate, I was reading a news article earlier talking about the Department of Justice is actually actively trying to get in front of these sanctuary cities. Yeah, they're going after the sanctuary cities for going after them, trying to sue the Trump administration on this immigration front. This is good. This is getting out in front of the situation and trying to force these people to come to heel on this. Because we need to come together as a country on this issue if we are going to get this situation resolved. I don't know why the Democrats think that open borders are a good thing. It makes absolutely no sense. I'm not even really going to address the two genders things, because that's just a massively stupid answer, if you ask me. But I left it in there because just to point out just how massively stupid it is to say, well, there's at least two. No, there's only two. Right? And those correlate to biology, by the way. And that's should not even be a question at this point. Yeah, I mean, you can identify however the hell you want to, but that doesn't mean in reality that there's more than two genders. Right? Reality dictates what we think, what we do, how we act. You can't go outside of reality and exist over here in some make-believe world. You can try. That doesn't mean it's true, right? People need to come to grips with reality. There's only two genders. You have all rights to express yourself in any way you want to, and nobody is trying to take that away from anybody. What we are trying to do is get a little bit of normality in here, get a little bit of, hey, stop teaching our children this garbage, because it makes absolutely no sense. You're confusing kids all over the place, and we don't need confused kids. We have enough TikTok to do that, right? We have enough with all these social media apps that get out there and confuse kids, and they don't know what to do. Right? TikTok is an absolute weapon, which is going to come up on the next segment. Right? It's an absolute weapon, whether it's overt or covert, whether it's inadvertently or done on purpose. TikTok has become a weapon to just melt the brains of young people. Because that's exactly what the studies have shown that it does. And we can see this in everyday life. But let's keep going to see where this debate leads.
Yeah, I mean, Harry, I want to talk to you specifically about TikTok, because your biggest following is on TikTok. So until the weekend, you must have been sweating away because your whole power base on that platform was about to disappear. And then the Lone Ranger arrives to save the day, Donald Trump. Do you want to take this opportunity to thank President Trump for so far saving TikTok for you, therefore personally enriching you?
Yeah, so I've said previously that if Donald Trump or anybody, any politician, saves TikTok and prevents it from a ban, I'll give them credit that they deserve. But I also think it's important to point out. Yeah, I mean, I'm not absolved of that.
So do you want to say thank you, Donald, at this stage, or not?
Oh no, I wouldn't never thank a sexual abuser for anything. I don't think.
Oh right,
but I do want to point out that Donald Trump.
When you say you give him credit, what do you mean? What credit?
Hold on. Let me just give some context here, though. I do want to point out that Donald Trump did sign an executive order when he was president the first time to ban TikTok. So the reason that this conversation started was because of Donald Trump in 2022 and 2023. People like Charlie Kirk, and I'm sure maybe these folks over here that I don't know for sure, were advocating for the banning of TikTok. And now when Donald Trump gets some money from people who have stake in it, and he sees an opportunity to become more popular with Gen Z, then he flips his position.
It's not what happened.
Flip-flopper. So am I thankful that Donald Trump flipped
Harry,
his position? No problem. And I also want to point out that
Harry
Joe Biden
tacitly admitting that TikTok is Chinese spyware? Are you admitting that it's owned by the Chinese government and that it's spying on Americans?
I don't know how you could have gotten that from me saying that Donald Trump wanted to ban TikTok, but of course you draw conclusions that aren't there. You'd fail the LSAT in a second, Dave Rubin. Anyway, I also want to point out that Joe Biden laid the foundation for.
Honestly.
You know, Piers, it's remarkable that you let somebody who took Russian money on your show. Why would you let somebody who took Russian money on your show? It's disgraceful. It's disgraceful. It's disgraceful that people with Russian money funneling to their. Anyway, let me finish, Dave. Would you just be quiet, please? Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you for being obedient.
Unbearable.
Joe Biden laid the foundation for TikTok to stay alive in the United States. He said that they won't enforce the law, that they're going to let the enforcement go to Donald Trump and his administration. So that laid the foundation.
Is TikTok Chinese
we are only
spyware?
Here because do you have evidence to suggest that it is, Dave?
Yes, a hell of a lot of it.
Yes.
Oh, please.
Yes.
Lay it on. Lay it on.
I know you make money from them, but hell yes.
Lay it on us, guys.
Why they won't let you have it on
Lay it on
government
us,
phones.
guys. Lay it on us, guys. What's the evidence?
Okay,
What's
let's
the
go
evidence
through
that's
it.
been
No,
made
let's go
public by
through
the
it.
government?
Harry, is Chinese TikTok different than American TikTok? Yes or no?
Yeah, yes, it is.
Oh,
so I'm still waiting for all this
why.
evidence. I'm still waiting for all this evidence that you guys says is so present. And by the way, if it is
okay, I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you. Listen carefully.
Hold on, gentlemen. Wait. Ferguson, let me finish this really quickly. Ferguson, let me finish this really quickly.
No,
I'll let you speak. I'll let you speak.
You asked
Ferguson,
a question.
let me finish. Let me finish, and then I'll let you speak. Ferguson, I'm done. I'll let me finish, and then I'll let you speak. If you guys are arguing that it's Chinese spyware, are you saying that Donald Trump is currently arguing for a spyware phone, a mobile device?
No, because you again. This is where I'm going to teach you. I'm going to teach you politics here, so you understand.
Of course, it's Chinese spyware, but not when Donald Trump advocates for it. I love the hypocrisy on this channel.
I'm going to explain it to you.
Okay, so the divestment from TikTok, which is not an absolute ban outright, it is a good idea, but it puts conservatives in a very, very tough position because we're supposed to be upholders of freedom of speech, and that goes against the freedom of speech, kind of, right? Not all the way, kind of. Because what it's actually doing, the reason they want to get rid of TikTok, they want to divest from China because we don't want China having a say in what TikTok is, right? What is promoted on TikTok. And that's the problem right there. Freedom of speech. China does not get freedom of speech in the United States. They want to divest TikTok from China and have it American owned, change the algorithm because it is melting kids' brains, like I was saying earlier. But that dips into freedom of expression. How does the government get to say what we can watch? That's the slippery slope that we find ourselves on. And this is another one of those omnidirectional slippery slopes. You let it go too far in this direction, where it pretty much is, right? It's melting kids' brains. But you go in the other direction, and now you're banning free speech, which we don't want to do either one of those. We need to find a happy medium on this because these kids they're absolutely just attention deficient, and this is fueling that attention deficiency. Absolutely. Social media is fueling this, and it's making our kids with lower IQs, less smart, less able to pay attention to anything, right? Which is going to lessen productivity in the workplace. It's going to make these kids' lives harder when they get out there in the real world and realize that they have a job to do. They have a position in life. They have purpose to go and find, right? They don't want kids because they want to live this jolly life, blah, 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 blah. We have issues in this country. And this is where Vivek Ramaswamy comes in, right? That argument that we have prioritized mediocrity over success. It's insane what we've done. We've stopped telling our kids to strive to be the best, and we've told them you're okay just as who you are. You don't have to be successful. You don't have to be good at anything. This is a terrible precedent to set for children. Then they just don't care about anything. They just want to go play. And when it comes to being productive members of society, that's completely and utterly destructive to the future of this nation. So it's a tough line to ride, right? Slippery slope in all directions, if you will. It's just terrible what TikTok and what social media has done, right? So, but it's not really an outright ban. This whole thing, people saying, oh, they're banning TikTok, blah, 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 blah. But the crazy thing about this is that, you know, TikTok shut itself down. It refuses to divest from China. Just outright refuses. It most certainly could do this. Easily. There's been several potential buyers of TikTok. Kevin O'Leary, Elon Musk. There's been several of them. There's more than that, but there's been several people who have offered to buy TikTok for an exorbitant amount, a lot more than I believe it's worth, but that's just my opinion, if you know what I mean. You know, but they just refuse to do that. They don't want to divest. That to me is very telling about TikTok and where their priorities lie, if you will. They don't care. They're sitting there yelling, screaming, gnashing their teeth. Oh, you're going to damage all these businesses and freedom of speech and all this blah, 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 just running their freaking mouth. And when they have the chance to divest, to keep that company afloat, what do they choose to do? And Donald Trump coming in and saving this, I don't think that's a good idea. Right? I'm not sure what's going on in his brain. He may know some stuff that I don't. I'm sure that's what it is. We're going to see. This is an area where I totally disagree with Trump, and I totally agree that TikTok needs to divest from China. Right? They're already getting our data. They say they don't, but, you know, people lie constantly. They have a duty to give the data to China, as a matter of fact. But it's just insane that TikTok absolutely refuses to do this. That tells me that TikTok is a lot more than just some app that people go and promote their business and share dance videos and chicken videos, like just garbage videos, to pretty much. It's a lot more than that because they're refusing, right? The owner of the company has a fiduciary duty to keep that company afloat. And when you have legislation that tells you you must divest or shut down, and you choose to shut down instead of divest when there's several offers over here, there's some kind of ulterior motive going on with this. That's what that tells me. There's something fishy, and I want to get to the bottom of it. I think Trump needs to investigate this. I don't think he needs to allow it to stay open as it is. But, you know, I think I've rambled on. I think I've made my point long enough on this one. I want y'all to let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comment section. That's all I got for this one, y'all. I want to thank everybody for watching, and y'all try to have a good day. Stay legitical. Peace.